Hey, hello, and welcome to the show. It's me, John Park. It's time for another episode of John Park's Workshop. Here we are. And I was just explaining in the chat that I have successfully survived a paper wasp encounter. Just as I was coming in here to get ready for the show, a big murderous-looking wasp was snooping around, probably looking to build a new nest or something. There hasn't been one in here in a while. I shooed that thing out, so I'm feeling mostly safe, but keep an eye. If you see something behind me looking angry, that would warrant a warning, so thanks. Nature. All right, hey, here we are. What's going on today? Thanks for stopping by. I thank you over in the YouTube chat. We got, looks like Mark Langfelder, Dave Odessa, Johnny Bergdahl stopped by. And over in our Discord chat, all sorts of people, including Snaky Maker Cat, Gary Z, Andy Calloway, Some Nice, Split City DIY, Paul Cutler. That looks like the gang right there. So thank you for stopping in. And if anyone else is thinking of coming by and you're not sure where the chat is, then you can go to our Discord. What's our Discord, you ask? Well, you know what? If you go to our website, I think we have links, right? So look, this is Adafruit. If you go to the blog and you scroll down a little bit, you should see this blog post for today's show. Hey, where is it? Did I never hit post? Oh, there it is. No. Hey, weird. It's just sitting there somewhere, not posting. Well, that's too bad. I was going to say you can look there. If you also just, I think, type in Discord, the blog will point you there. Or I can just tell you, go to adafru.it/Discord. That will get you an instant link on over to the Discord server. And then you'll want to look for the live broadcast chat channel, which is where all of the chatter is going on. That's it right there. You can see it highlighted. I've got the live broadcast chat, but we have a whole bunch of other channels. What do we have? 35,000 members or something at this point, and you can find all sorts of answers to questions you may have or help people out if you're interested in these help with channels, help with CircuitPython, help with 3D printing, help with radio, help with Whippersnapper. Those are just some of the channels that you can go and check. Todd says there's something murderous back there, but it's not a wasp. Yeah, that's Lars. There he is. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's our Discord. Go and check it out. We've got stuff going on all the time. Hi, Tyeth. Thanks for popping by. All right. So what else have I got going on today? We have a coupon code for you if you want to buy some stuff in the Adafruit store. That's what helps us keep things moving here at Adafruit, selling stuff to people like you. But if you want to get 10% off on those things, then you can use today's coupon code, which is Headbanger. You'll see why a little bit. You may have guessed already. I think this is a pun made last night by Mark Gambler in our show and tell chat. And that you can just type that into the coupon code field on checkout. That's all you got to do. That'll get you 10% off on any of the things that you can order in the store. It won't work on software or gift certificates or subscriptions, but it is good on physical goods, all the things that we have to sell, of which there are many. Check this out. Here is our main page. If you just go to shop or go to adafruit.com, you see we have a little banner there for new products. You can click on View All New Products. We have some featured products and more. And there's also categories. If you want to click on products, you can check out the different categories there. Or you can do something I like to do sometimes, which is to simply type in a random number and see what's at the end of it. Like, for example, is there a item 1200? What's that? It's a ball caster. If you need a 3/4 inch metal ball caster, which apparently I did back in June of 2018 for some robot I was building, you can pick one up, and it won't be $4.95 for you. It'll be $4.95 minus 49 cents, or maybe we round up to 50. I'm not sure. But how is that possible? Through the use of this coupon code right here. So if you type in headbanger on the way out, you will get 10% off your order. Was noticing also in the chat the revelation that Some Nice was at the e-waste facility yesterday and saw a big 19-inch Sony Trinitron and thought of me. Thank you. Should have picked it up. Yeah, a lot of times the e-waste facilities won't let you because I think they're selling off some copper and radioactive dust or something that they pull out of the TV. But hey, neat. Love those Trinitrons. Tyeth also mentions that the Clue has come back in stock, so if you have some ideas for projects that could use a little all-in-one gizmo that runs CircuitPython, that runs Arduino, I think it runs MakeCode as well. The Clue is in stock, and it has a screen on it. It can do wireless stuff with Bluetooth LE. It's an NRF52840. It's got the little edge connectors there to clip things to, use them as capacitive touch. Screen, I think it has a infrared built in, distance sensing, a little speaker on the back, a microphone. I could be making some of those things up, but I think those are all things that exist on the Clue. You can do tons. So yeah, that's back in stock. $44.95 normally, but today, just take almost $5 off of that with that coupon code. What's that coupon code? That's that coupon code. Okay, so what else do we have going on? I have a product pick of the week recap for you from earlier in the week. I've got a CircuitPython Parsec for you. Going to talk about some infrared decoding today. We've got, what else? A much, I think, improved demo of the drum sequencer. I'll be showing you that. There's the sort of final form of that Lego drum sequencer that I've been working on, and I've now got 4 tracks of 32 steps, so 2 bars, and instead of going into my computer sitting here that's causing all kinds of trouble trying to both broadcast this show and be a sequencer, or rather a synthesizer or sample player that's responding to that thing. I've got it all set up over there with a little sample playback station, so no computer involved. What the kids call DAW-less, no digital audio workstation involved. Oh, that's awful. Someone over in the I don't like it. I don't think Lars Wasp needs to exist. It's bad enough he's a sloth. Woo! Can't unsee that. Thanks, Andy. That is the worst. Oh my God. Why? And that'll be it. Yeah, that'll be the show. Future projects. I've got some stuff in the works. We're still ironing out some kinks with the USB MIDI host stuff. So I've got some continued work on that, but I'll be showing some MIDI host stuff. I think I'll be doing some analog joystick with the TRS Trinky stuff in the future. And then we have some cool products coming out soon, or that have just come out, that I think I'm going to be making some projects with. So, yeah, thanks, Andy. Andy says, my work is done here. Yeah. Okay, so let's jump on this this train here. So I've got my product pick of the week show on Tuesdays, and on it I like to show you a little product that I've been enjoying from the store. This week was a brand new product, and give you a little bit of a demo and a deep discount on it during the show. So that discount has no coupon code. It's just during the show. Usually lasts about 15 minutes, but I have condensed it down into just the demo portion that lasts 59 seconds for you here, and this is the product pick of the week recap. It is the TRRS Trinky. This is an adaptive technology wonder right here. It's like, honey, I shrunk the microcontroller and USB cable and connectors, because that's it. That's the whole thing right there. My iPad here. You'll see the Trinky lights up. It's got a NeoPixel built on. This is a Cortex M0, so we can run CircuitPython. We can run Arduino on there. We also have a little breakout here for Stemma QT I2C sensors and other add-ons. And in this configuration I'm using it right now, when I press one of these buttons, they are mimicking 3 keyboard presses. The summon the Italian flag buttons for some reason that I decided to make. But those are the buttons I had, and you can see here, these are just pretty standard arcade buttons, and I've clipped on 3 of those little mono connectors onto there. Product pick of the week this week, it is the TRRS Trinky. Cool gizmo. I'll be doing more with it. Also, there was a question, I think it was during the show, about using some of those conductors for other things. Of course, it's designed as an input for analog and digital, but the tip conductor pin is an analog out, so it would be possible to do some audio out of it, maybe, do some composite video shenanigans out of it. So this could become a new favorite, that little Trinky. It's not very powerful. It's an M0, so you're going to be limited, but still, pretty cool gizmo. Did you get one? What are you using it for? Let me know in the chat. Interested to hear. All right, hey, let's get set up then for a CircuitPython Parsec. CircuitPython All right, there we go. For the CircuitPython Parsec today, I want to show you how you can decode infrared remote signals in CircuitPython. So what I have here, here's a Pi portal and a breakout that is an IR receiver breakout. This is expecting 38 kilohertz carrier signal infrared, which is conveniently what pretty much every remote you run into in daily life uses. You can see here I have a infrared receiving candle. It's a fake candle, and when I press the on button on this little remote, it lights up. When I press off, it turns off. And you'll notice as I'm sending signals, they are being read by my little infrared receiver as well as the camera, and they are showing up their codes right there on the screen. So the way this works in CircuitPython, we have Pulse IO, which is a library that can listen to those very fast pulses coming in. And then we have the Adafruit IR remote library, which has a bunch of convenient functions that make things like decoding and emitting IR really easy. So if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see I am setting up my IR receiver object with Pulse IO on the available pin. I'm expecting a maximum length of 120 pulses, which is enough to cover most standards of remotes. And this is sort of like the pull state. Then I'm setting up a decoder object using Adafruit IR remote and a generic decode. So the function here, decode IR signals, uses the decoder decode bits method, and it returns a code. So you can see, I'm going to skip this part here, in my main loop, we create a variable called pulses, which is the decoder read pulses based on that IR receiver. And then we take that received code, and I'm going to print that out and also store it as a hex value. So you can see in my REPL down here at the bottom, I'll grab a different remote entirely. So if I start, how about this one here? If I start pressing buttons on there, I'm getting a length of pulses. All of these remotes are sending out a 67 length pulse, which is a fairly standard, I think, NEC remote code length. And then here are the pulses themselves. So we have some little PWMs, essentially. How long does the pulse last? And that is how the different buttons are encoded, is through different series of these 67 codes running different lengths of high or low. And then we can also turn that into this hex code just to make it a little easier to store, which is how I'm able to do stuff like use this remote where I've prepared some lookup tables so that it knows the names of the things that I'm pressing and shows them up there. And so that is how you can use the IR remote library decode to decode infrared remote signals. And that is your CircuitPython Parsec. One of the reasons that I'm doing this is actually I'd like to do a follow-up project, or a follow-up to Parsec and maybe a project that uses our decoder and our emitter to create a universal learning remote. So I'd like to be able to learn remote codes and then do things with them, either just send them again. If I don't have that remote handy, you can kind of clone your remotes, put them all onto one device. In fact, with the PyPortal here, we've got a SD card reader, so I could probably store different remote codes on the SD card, which would be kind of neat. And also partly it's interesting for figuring out what the heck's going on with some of these remotes, which happen to use overlapping codes. This is a this is a infrared remote for a speaker system. This is an infrared remote for a analog colored light tape for the ceiling. And what I noticed is when you try to do some things to the stereo, you end up changing the color of the lights. And so if we look here, you can see things like this, I think it's just the auxiliary button. When I press that on this remote, it's reporting back OOFFB847. Same thing as this blue button right here, this blue color button. Hey, oh no, it's not that one. Is it this one? Yeah. So if you try to switch the stereo to auxiliary, that works, but also the lights color changes in the room. I also noticed that with this candle. If I try to use this, I don't even know, I guess that's a repeat track button or something like that for the stereo system, it turns off this candle. So a lot of these are using some of, I think, the overlapping NEC, one of the really generic standards of codes that's popular out there. So a lot of fun you can have looking at these signals, then being able to store them, emit them, maybe even do little macro patterns that aren't possible. For example, this little candle timer to preserve battery, you can turn it on, sure. You can go to candle mode, which makes it flicker. You can go to light mode, which just lets it be steady. But what if you want it to change those settings? This can't do that without you pressing it. It has a 2-hour timer. It'll turn off after 2 hours. Using CircuitPython and an emitter, I learn the off code, and then I can tell it to send that 20 minutes from now instead of 2 hours. So you can really extend the utility of a lot of these devices with learning the remote codes using the decoder. This, by the way, the decoder object on here, I did this as a pretty recent product pick of the week. This is the 38 kilohertz infrared remote decoding receiver, which runs over Stemma QT. So you can see it's a really neat fit for PyPortal and some of our other boards that have the 3-pin Stemma cables on there. So that's how I'm reading those remote signals directly onto here. All right, so that covers CircuitPython Parsec. And then next up, what I wanted to do, so I'd shown you a few weeks ago the beginning stages of the drum sequencer. And what I'd like to do is dive a little more in depth on the build, how it's working, give you a much better demo, like I said, because I can trigger some samples now using MIDI that won't be interfered with by my broadcasting computer. And there was also a recommendation, a request by Mark Gambler last night on Show and Tell to maybe have some of the, you'll see I'm using Lego minifigure heads to trigger the drum patterns, maybe have the Lego heads screaming in agony as they bonk their head on the end of it. So we'll create a fresh sample of what we think that should sound like. Maybe do some other sample stuff. So let's head over there, and we'll take a look at all that's going on here. So one thing I'll say, I ran into an issue last night on Show and Tell because I was using my computer's built-in microphone, and the noise and echo cancellation settings were turned on StreamYard. So it was basically obliterating this drum sounds as far as I know. I'm going over my mic pack into a receiver and a mixer over there, so it's much better at just letting the sounds that come through come through. I didn't run this with its own special mic or directly into the mixing board, so I'm going to open up Discord on my phone here. Let me know in the chat if the levels need to be adjusted so that you can hear drums and still hear me while we do this. So thank you for helping me come up with the right levels there. So let me tell my phone not to turn off, first of all. Auto lock, never. Good, okay. That'll just eat my batteries if I forget about it, but that's good. And let me go to live broadcast chat. Okay. So what I got going now is the prototype I did was, and I've pulled the track off of it now, prototype I did was this small section. I think I had 22 steps on it of this type of tread, sort of like a hard plastic tank tread that you can clip together, and it moves like a tank tread, like you'll see on a construction vehicle. And I have little sprockets that turn the tank tread there, and I ran a stepper motor to it. This worked out well enough that I redesigned it to work with 32 steps, which is more divisible by normal 4/4 music, which is what drum beats tend to be, like dance music drum beats tend to be, rock music tends to be. And I can do 4 tracks of the 32 by using these little peg holes that are in each of the treads. Let's see, are you turned on? Let me unplug this for a second so we don't get noises. So the way this works is I have this stepper motor back here controlled by a feather with the motor shield on it. This is in double step mode, which means it's exciting pairs of coils to give it the best speed, and the torque is just fine. And then we are sending out, or rather we're receiving signals from these 8, I keep saying 8, these 4, I have big dreams, these 4 optical sensors. So these have a little infrared emitter and receiver that is trying to sense if the infrared light is getting bounced back by an object. So normally with nothing in the way or these little pegs here, they don't trigger it. In fact, let me zoom in a bunch on this so you can see it a little better while I explain. When this little black box here that has the emitter and the receiver sees an object like this little skull minifigure head in front of it, then it sends a signal. We have power, ground, and signal on the white wire here going to the feather. And that just acts as a digital input. So it can, oops, breaking things over here. So it can either be on or off. So either we have an object there or not. When we receive a on signal from one of these on this track, we're sending out a MIDI note, I think it's 36, which is the sort of bottom left corner of a drum sample, somewhat of a convention. So if you see this here, I've got this little 4x4 grid of drum samples. And this is where you can let me know how audible that is. Okay, so when anything in this row is seen, it's going to send the kick. When anything in this next row comes along, sends the snare, next row, hi-hat, and then we'll put our own sample in this last one here. So in working on this, one of the issues that I came up with, and if you, I'm writing the guide right now, if you want to build this thing, I have the digital file that you can open up in different Lego CAD software. I use Studio or Stud.io. You can see that we had a lot of slack here that was causing problems, so I put like a sort of little idler wheel here to hold that slack, and that's just because the math of doing the 32 steps and a fairly normal set of Technic beams just doesn't work out that well. You get a bit of slack, and I didn't want to get too much more complicated with this length here by using sort of half stud methods and things like that. So I just have a little idler wheel there that keeps that taut, fairly taut, and this is it back here. So you'll see that in the digital files when you check that out. And then I've grafted the stepper, which has a fairly normal stepper shaft, a little flatted shaft, to the Technic axle using a product that we have. It'll be in the Learn Guide as well. It's like a couple dollars, and it is meant to take TT motor size shaft and convert it into Lego Technic axle. I had to do a little scraping away of plastic to get it to fit on here, but now it's on there very well. So this will turn like so, and as each head is seen by the infrared reflection sensor, we'll get a MIDI note sent out. So without even turning this on motor-wise, I've got USB hosting on the little black box here. And Starman says good, so I think that's reference to the level. So you can hear the drum, thank you. So this is going to host USB and give power to the Feather RP2040 there. This is running CircuitPython. And now you'll see as I turn this, we're going to hear, I'm going to go to the mixer and just mute the snare and the hi-hat, so we'll just hear the kick for now. And you'll also see that little, kick light up, a little blue line when it sees a signal. In fact, I can grab just a piece of Lego here. Right, so that's going to trigger that monstrous kick. Probably sounds more monstrous to me in the room, but it will. Right, so you can see once this is running at a constant speed, we can set our drum pattern. These are set up as, I'm going to mute that for a second. These are set up, I put a little indicator on this one here. If I had the time for it, I would have ordered some, they make this track in like 3 different colors. I would have gotten maybe some of the black track to just indicate the beginnings of measures, and maybe, I think there's maybe red, I can't remember now, but a color to indicate sort of the beginning of the 16 steps that is one bar. But this is essentially beat 1 of the whole thing, and these are linked together, right? These all run on the same shaft, so these will always stay in lockstep with each other. So this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's the way we can get just like typical quarter note on the kicks and quarter notes on the snares, and then maybe some of these 16th notes on the hi-hats or claps or cowbells or whatever you want there. So here's just what I'll do is I'm going to run this, I'll unmute the kick, then I'll just unmute the snare, then I'll just unmute this hats, and I don't have anything in the fourth track. You can hear those, and then I'll combine them. So the way I'm starting it, just to keep things real simple, I just have there's a 12-volt power running to the motor feather wing, and I can turn it on and off with this little inline switch. These things are great. So that meant I didn't have to have an additional button to watch, slow things down, because the timing is really critical. And in fact, I'm using async I/O to be able to run the motor, which being a stepper motor, it kind of needs constant direction on what to do, as well as check these sensors. So interleaving that timing is important, and async I/O makes that pretty straightforward. But I didn't want to add a lot of other stuff to potentially slow it down. So here it is, just on kick. Okay, now swap it for the snare. And here's the hats. And then if we want to, we can go ahead and pause that just by, uh-oh, is my camera overheating? Let me turn on the AC. I see that camera flickering over there. I think it's getting hot. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I'm going to wave at the camera for a second. I really need to build a heat sink or a local swamp cooler for that camera. Hopefully that AC noise doesn't bother you. I know sometimes the fan will make this camera move. So the way this is set up, you can go and adjust your beats by adding more or taking away or rearranging these heads. So what I'll do is let's just play the snare. And I'll see if I can add them while it's moving. It's moving kind of fast for that, but that's the thing. We can also just pause it with this if we have to. So here's just snare pattern. So let's say I want ba-da-bap right there. Okay, I'm going to pause it to try to do that. And then I can just rewind a little bit here. Here we go. And I think it's missing one hit. So, oops. One thing I've noticed is that some of these minifigure heads have like dark glasses or mustaches and eyebrows, enough so that if that paint is facing the sensor, it doesn't trip it, which is kind of cool. So you should hear 1, 2, 3 space 1 right here. We're not. We're hearing 1, 2 space 1. I'm going to show you the orientation of that. That one right there is not playing, and I think it's because those glasses. So I'll play it again, or even I can just hand turn it. So it doesn't notice that one. It'll notice this next one. So if I just simply turn that, so now there's no glasses facing the sensor, all 3 and 4. There we go. Ba-da-da-ba. So let's add one right before the next kick. Get 'em. So I was thinking, and I I don't know what the best minifigure head would be for this, but it would be kind of cool to come up with ones that you could fairly consistently just twist to reveal the reflective, the IR reflective part, and then twist back. Means potentially you could have all slots full all the time and do it by twisting to turn a note on and off. It would be kind of cool. You could also maybe add an element. There's some little like neck elements, backpack kind of things that you might be able to get a black version of there and flip between playing a note and not playing a note. So this is, I think, clearer, just is the note there or not, but it is kind of neat that you can, in some of these cases, I think with this one as well, this old man with a mustache and dark glasses, that one's dark enough that you can find spots where it won't hit it. The other thing, by the way, is that this is a fairly typical drum pattern notation. If you look at, and I'll show you an example, if you look at drum patterns for drum machines, there's some really nice diagrams for drum patterns on an 808 drum machine, for example. And they'll be laid out like this. There'll be two 16-step patterns, and they'll read left to right. So this you could read as kick, snare, kick, rest, snare, rest, kick. So you can lay out your... oh, that camera went out again. Darn it. Let me turn that one off. I'm going to switch over. I don't know how much you'll be able to see me over there, but I'm going to turn that camera off and let it cool down a little bit. See if I can flip out its display so that the sensor can get some of that cooler air. I have a monitor back there that I think is also inhibiting the airflow. So will you be able to see me over here? A little distant version of me. Hello, yeah, so I'm sort of still there. Hi. See if I can twist that computer a bit. The camera's built in on this one. There we go. So you can, like I was saying, lay these out, develop a pattern, and then replace the existing belt on here. And actually, I thought I would show that. Let me mute all these, and I'll just turn it off. So there's enough slack to simply pull the track apart, and then you can pull it out. I won't take this one out just because I realized the biggest pain is actually getting two of them to the same alignment, because I want these first beats here that I've indicated to align. Otherwise, the pattern gets all out of whack. So I won't do the replacement here right now for you because it's a little bit fiddly. But you can do that. You can swap in the belts here if you want, and you can buy these in bulk where these cost a few cents a piece, so it's not too expensive to get big sections of track. Or you can make a stylish bandolier out of that if you want. But that's, I just wanted to show that unwrapped is what a drum pattern looks like on here. So you can, I'll show you in a minute, use that as a starting point. Now, the other thing I wanted to show, and this was based on Mark Ambler's suggestion, is how do we sample in a new piece of audio that we can assign to one of these tracks. So I'm going to assign something to this fourth track. And if you look right now, plug this back in and grab something to bounce the light off. This sensor right here, if you watch, there's a little red light there. It shows it's triggering. You might be able to see that. But unlike these other cells, there's nothing in there right now. So right now there's nothing that would play when that MIDI note is coming across. So what I'm going to do is pick this little cell, and I'm going to hook up a little microphone This happens to be a little Zoom portable recorder, but it has a line out on it. It won't be the highest quality, but that's okay. And I will try to sample just a... Forgot, that's going to feedback terribly there. I'll turn that back on in a second. But you can, let's see, you can see, bop, bop, bop. This has like a little level indicator on here. And I'm going to go into the sample mode on this little sample box. So it's like, yep, waiting for you to say something. It's picking up a lot of the background noise there, so I'll kind of try to protect that. Okay, so Mark's idea was that these guys are saying, ow. They're getting a hit in the head. So I'm going to, I think I hit load to record one. Nope. I think I just hit record play to, yeah. I hit these buttons right here. Ow! Ow! Okay, so I recorded a couple takes of that. I can turn this off and unplug it so that it doesn't feedback. Turn my speaker back up. Ow! Ow! Okay, so that's the little sample there, and now I can edit that sample. You can see we have a little waveform indicator here. Let's try just this one. Ow! Okay, that's good, and then I don't want it to taper off. I want it to end quickly so it can re-trigger. So we'll adjust it to have no release. Ow! 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 All right, so that should now be a pretty decent ow! 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 Trigger for the poor little Lego guys. They don't actually hit anything, but I thought it was a funny idea. So let's mute everything in the mix except for that. That's how it's set. Hit play. Ow! Ow! I'm going to turn some of these with the dark glasses. Ow! 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 All right. Ow! 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 We can also adjust that pitch. Ow! 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 They're minifigures. They're going to have high voices. All right, that's probably enough of that. So thanks for that idea, Mark, and giving me an excuse to remind myself how sampling directly into this is a lot of fun. And Andy Calloway asks, will this be available on Spotify? I hope not. Okay, so there's also some disturbing things happening, by the way, in the Discord, like that photoreal imagining of what a minifigure would look like. I hate it. Thank you. So I think that's it. That's the project. The one other thing I'll point out, this is kind of interesting. Let's see, are these all triggering still? If you are worried about light leak, infrared light leak on these, you could add some little blockers. I ended up being okay for these kinds of uses. The one case that turns out to trigger them is using the iPhone. So if I try to take photos, it's triggering just because the iPhone emits so much infrared light to do its focus stuff and depth stuff. So it's just spewing out tons of infrared light to do a bunch of invisible depth calculations and edge detection and stuff. So it turns out it's actually very painful to try to shoot video of this thing in action. If you look at, I think one of the videos I released yesterday, there's one moment where if you're sharp-eyed, you'll see there's a drum hit that is not based on any of these heads, and it was because my camera excited the sensor there as I was moving it around. So kind of a funny fact. I think I've never run into this with the carrier frequency based stuff like an infrared remote. I think those work fine. They don't, there's no chance of this spewing out exactly that pattern to confuse that type of, but this is just an infrared sensor that's like, do I see a blast of light or not? And sure enough, they're all like probably 940 nanometer or 920 nanometer or whatever, close enough that this will get confused by your camera. So fun fact, fun weird fact. Okay, I think that covers what I wanted to show there. Sorry about the camera snafu, but we can return now to our regularly scheduled position right there. Oh, somebody says there was a glitch where flash photography would reboot the original Raspberry Pi. That's amazing. Tyeth asks, do you have the brightness turned up to the max on the potentiometers? So no, I tuned those. So there's a little potentiometer on those optical reflection sensors. I got to take that image off the screen. That too distracting. That you can use to change the sensitivity essentially to, I think it's 0.5 millimeter to about 4 millimeters distance. I tuned those to work with those minifigure heads, except for that last one. I think I had to kind of just bend the sensor in a little bit because I don't have a tiny screwdriver over there. But anyway, there's a little bit of a tuning method there. I'll write about that in the guide. And Tyeth asks, I wonder if that would swamp the iPhone signal. Yeah, good question. So if you told it needed the brightest available, would the iPhone thing still trick it? That would be an interesting exercise. So I said I would show, let me bring one of these up first. Do I have an example of... Yeah, okay, so here, these are really cool. These are a poster series by Rob Ricketts. It's at robricketts.bigcartel.com. And these are the 808 patterns for a bunch of famous songs. So this is Brass Monkey. And you can see there's two parts. So there's the first 16 bars, which actually has sort of a song pattern to it. It does like A, B, A kind of thing. So the B pattern here would be that second 30 of the 16 that I have on my physical sequencer. You can see how quickly a physical sequencer limits you. But these are really cool. Here's a bunch of famous 808 drum machine patterns just in beautiful poster form. But you can get some really nice books of drum machine patterns that will work well with those. And those all represent different tracks. So on the 808 you had a bass and a snare and an open hat and a closed hat and a low tom and a medium tom and a high tom and a hand clap and a cowbell and on and on. So lots of different drum voices. If you were gonna turn this thing into that, you would just need a whole heck of a lot more belts on it, and maybe you would need a second stepper in case you start to run out of juice to turn that, because there's a good bit of friction with the plastic there. But I think it would be possible. So I also had an idea at one point of adding accent notes. So if you had a track that was just telling whether or not we accent a note, that's a big part of making those types of drum patterns sound good. Squinter over in YouTube said, will he Wilhelm? I should have, but that was the Wilhelm Scream minifigure equivalent, I think, is that wow, which will now be in my head all day. Okay, I think that's going to do it. So don't forget, if you want to go buy some cool stuff and get a discount on the Adafruit store, this will get you 10% off, Headbanger. You now know why, that name. Banging poor little minifigure heads. No heads were actually harmed. And type that in at the coupon field on checkout, and you will get 10% off of your order. If you are interested in getting some free stuff, you can actually preview the free promotions by just going to adafruit.com/free. And you can see if you spend $99 or more, you get a PCB coaster. $149 or more, you get the coaster and a KB2040. $199 or more, you get the coaster, the KB2040, and free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. And if you spend $299 or more, you get those first three, as well as a Circuit Playground Express, all added to your cart automatically. You don't have to do anything. They just kind of show up there, priced at $0. So that's an enticement there. So go save some money on some cool stuff with that coupon code. All right, that's going to do it for today. Scott plans to do a deep dive tomorrow, so tune in for that. There may be some Desk of Lady Ada over the weekend, not sure. And then we'll be back on Tuesday with another product pick of the week, Wednesday with 3D Hangouts, Show and Tell, Ask an Engineer, and repeat. So please come on by and check out YouTube or the Discords or the blog to find out when things are happening. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time for Adafruit Industries. This has been John Park's Workshop. I'm John Park. Goodbye. No, 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 no.